saying.
Oh, God. It's still not on.
Oh, well, thought I turned the mic on. Messed it up. I'm sorry.
2 times in a row.
Anyways, in any case, welcome to MTG Card Market tonight, everyone. I'm Phil Silverman, joined by Greg Schaefer.
Yeah, and we just unmuted the mic.
Yes. As usual, things are very under control thanks to my stupidity.
We're doing a great job.
Anyways, Anthony Zane on the left, playing Reanimator. Andrew Bowman on the right, playing Mono White Stacks. And I'm excited to see the Stacks deck in action. Perhaps Brainstorm is the worst card to show for his deck.
Yeah, I wonder... Alright, so let's bring up some Stacks cards.
Okay.
Trinosphere first, maybe? Smokestack, alright.
The one that has Stack in the name.
Fair enough.
There is definitely a few copies of this card in Andrew's deck.
Andrew taking a mulligan.
Unfortunately. And mulligan to 5, I think, right now.
So Mono White, do you think he plays Rest in Peace in the main deck? Or maybe it's a sideboard card.
I mean, he might. I really don't know. I have to think he has a lot of Caracases in his deck, though.
Sure.
Which would help quite a bit in this matchup.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, having a main deck Rest in Peace would certainly be helpful in this matchup, and obviously some other matchups where it's randomly really good. But I feel like you just don't need to run the hate cards. Like your plan is to just land death them out most of the time. Smokestack them. I'll pull up Crucible. Oh yeah.
Oof.
Just a wonderful card. There's Trinosphere and Humility.
Humility. Alright, Scry. On top. I imagine it is a land.
This deck plays a lot of soul lands as well.
Ooh, is a Chalice of the Void.
Chalice for 1. Does this resolve?
In response, Entomb.
Seems like a good time to use it.
Yeah.
Pull up Chalice of the Void here. Recently seeing a bit more play in Modern, thanks to the Eldrazi deck.
And Legacy, thanks to the Eldrazi.
Yeah, I guess so. And Zinni just going right for Iona.
Huh. I mean, I guess...
On the play, that seems reasonable.
I wonder if he knows what he's playing against.
I think he has to know to go for Iona here.
Is it that great?
Is
it better than Grizzlebrand?
I don't know Andrew's deck, so my answer is maybe. I feel like it. My intuition is that it's worse than Grizzlebrand,
right?
Because of the possibility of Ensnaring Bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't think this deck plays Ensnaring Bridge. Never mind, because he wins with Gideon Jura.
Okay.
Yes, you did hear that correctly. Ooh, and there's the Animate Dead.
Well,
we'll see if Andrew concedes or not. That's important.
Yeah, I mean, you said that there's Caracas in the deck.
I believe there. I would be surprised if there wasn't Caracas in the deck. There's also just Humility.
Yeah, which is kind of why I would think I would rather have Grizzlebrand.
It's not like you could fit Humility in a play.
That was an Elspeth Knight Errant. Ooh, but no land.
And now we're just on a 2-turn clock. There is one thing to be said about Iona. She's big.
Yeah, hits for 6. Well, hits for 6 here.
What? 6?
Right? Iona's a 7/7.
It's a 7/7. I always thought she's a 9/9 for some reason.
You are a crazy person.
She costs 9. That's the mistake. But yeah, she's attacking for 6 right now.
Yeah.
I guess it would be the exact same clock as Grizzlebrand. Seagate Wreckage being played by Andrew here.
Jtron, that's very interesting that Eldrazi has died off already. Huh. Yeah, we really have not seen Eldrazi in our local metagame yet.
Yep.
Ooh, and Andrew concedes, maybe concealing a little information about what he's playing.
I think it's pretty clear what's up. I don't know.
Once you see the Seagate wreckage.
Yeah, no, I don't know what you could possibly infer from your opponent playing a Seagate Wreckage.
I mean, just from Ancient Tomb Chalice, that could just be Eldrazi.
Yeah, no, it could just be Eldrazi. It could be Tezzeret.
And same for the Seagate Wreckage. That could be Eldrazi.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean the Seagate Wreckage. It's very hard to pinpoint down what Seagate Wreckage actually means here. Sideboarding. I have to think that there are a bunch of copies of Rest in Peace that are going to come in.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if there's something like Relica Progenitus or Tormod's Crypt. Like the only thing that would stop you from bringing in Symmetrical Graveyard Hate would be if he really thinks Crucible is necessary. But Rest in Peace is just such a powerful sideboard card.
Yeah.
That I can't imagine he's not playing at least a few copies of it.
It's Tony's put it into an interesting spot because typically the way that Reanimator likes to dodge Graveyard Hate like Rest in Peace is with Show and Tell, but against a a deck that is showing you that it is permanent based in its hate is kind of risky also.
Yeah, and like if he's aware of what's going on in Andrew's deck list, he knows that putting Show and Tell in his deck is just asking to get humiliated.
Mm-hmm. My friend Nick did that to what's his name? That writer for SCG from the New York area, and everyone always makes fun of his writing. Not Jim Davis, the other, or Anthony Lowry. GP New Jersey in like round 8, and they're both undefeated. Nick's playing Miracles, and Lowry's playing Show and Tell. In game 3, turn 1, Lowry goes for it, and Nick puts in Humility.
Wow.
And he concedes 2 turns later when Nick plays a Snapcaster to block Grizzlebrand.
My 1/1 costs less mana than your 1/1.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
It was great.
Wow. That's.
And then Nick lost 2 win-ins at the end of that tournament.
Oh, such daggers. He was 12-0?
Mm-hmm. No, 12-1. He lost round 10. The first round of day 2, he lost to eventual winner Brian Braun-Duin.
Oh, yeah, he did. Forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly still can't believe Brian Braun-Duin won with that deck.
Yeah.
That deck only existed for one tournament, and everyone said it was just, like, extremely bad.
Yeah.
That
It
is
was
just
very good at beating the very narrow metagame.
the narrow meta game of all Blue-Red Delver decks.
Blue-Red Delver, like lands. Actually, it was bad against lands.
There's no way it was good against lands. But, like, lands was just not a great choice for that. I mean, only a few people did well with lands that tournament.
Yeah.
I know Ben Peebles-Mundy did really well with it, but I think he was, like, 12-3. I don't remember. In any case, both players look like they're mulliganing their 7s, looking to see if they can get some better 6s. I think if you're Andrew, you just, like, need a turn 1 or turn 2 really powerful hate card. Like,
Yeah.
it's like either turn 1 Chalice or turn 2 Rest in Peace. And, like, anything beyond that is, like, pretty bad.
Yeah, I can't... I mean, I guess a hand with Caracas, I would be pretty inclined to keep.
I can't imagine sending back almost any hand with Caracas.
No. And I wonder about things like Humility, like if he's anticipating Show and Tell or not.
It's hard to say, like...
Yeah.
I think the thing is, like, you're gonna want those cards that you want to put into play off of Show and Tell anyways.
Yeah.
Like, your Humilities and your, I don't know if he has, like, some other powerful permanents in his board, but...
Who knows?
Oblivion Ring, I think he has.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that, you're fine drawing it anyways.
Yeah, Ludicrous in the chat. I noticed that, too, about Bowman only shuffling the top half of his opponent's deck. It's very unusual.
It's expedience, I guess.
I guess. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I did see a Helm of Obedience in Andrew's hand.
Okay.
So
well, that combos with Rest in Peace.
But it does not combo with the rest of the cards in his hand. It looks like he's sending it back.
The lack of lands, perhaps.
Zini's got an interesting hand here. A couple lands, a Thoughtseize, and a Grave Titan, but no enablers, and he's just going to throw that one back. Both players going to 5 here. How's it going, David? Welcome. One thing about, as we've talked about at length about Reanimator, is that it is one of the better decks at mulliganing in Legacy.
I would imagine that Stax is not in that same company.
I mean, it's just like how good is the lock piece you mulligan to?
Yeah, and also what's the likelihood of having enough lands to be able to cast your spells?
Yeah,
I mean Reanimator, the nice thing about the deck, or one of the nice things, is the cards are all extremely cheap, except for, the things you're not actually trying to cast.
Yep. Almost everything in the deck costs 1 or 2, with the rare, Show and Tell on the sideboard.
Yeah.
But yeah, almost everything fitting in that neatly between one of in those 2 buckets.
Totally. All right, both players going to 5.
See if we can get some playable hands from... Oop, not that one.
Yeah. Bowman going with the Dragon Shield yellows.
I haven't seen those in a while. Ooh, I think 2 copies of Ensnaring Bridge in his hand.
Oof. Seems good.
I don't think he has more than a land, though.
So Tony looking in a hand with Daze, Careful Study, Tidespout Tyrant, Verdant Catacombs, Lotus Petal.
All right, Andrew's going to keep and scry to the bottom.
Tony scries?
Yeah. Yes. He has decided to keep, and he is also bottoming his card.
That looked like a Lotus Petal.
Planes go.
Sideboarded into Death and Taxes.
So he did find a show and tell.
Okay.
But one of the cards the card he could put in here is probably the single best card in the matchup, which is Tidespout Tyrant. Oh, right off the top, there's an Ancient Tomb.
Oof. That seems good.
I think we're going to see an attempt at a bridge here and likely a Daze from Anthony. Ooh, even better.
Plays around Daze. But Tony has it covered because he has Rest in Peace.
Mm-hmm.
Or, sorry.
Show and Tell.
Show and Tell.
He does have Careful Study, though, and draws Reanimate.
Well, yeah.
That's about right. I mean, do you just fire off the Careful Study anyways?
He needs lands,
Yeah.
so I think so.
So awkward. Like, you've just all these, like, awkward cards in your
He just
hand.
passes. The thing is that he really needs... I think he probably would want the Lotus Petal to be the first spell after... The first spell after the Tidespout Tyrant.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's unfortunate because he probably needs the Lotus Petal to power out the Show and Tell.
Yeah, and now Tony can't even cast the Careful Study.
Abrupt Decay, right on time. I mean, that does answer one of these things.
It does. You have to pick which one. But...
It's pretty awkward. You'd probably go for the... I mean, you probably have to go for the Chalice as is.
Trinisphere is a good draw.
You think it's going to get dazed?
I think it probably has to.
This seems even harder to beat than the rest of the cards here.
Alright, fetch. That gets exiled.
We'll just assume that's the exile zone until they try and interact with it.
Yeah.
We'll assume that any piles anywhere are exile zones. I think it's safe to do that. Underground Sea going to be returned to Zinni's hand after the fetch. And this is a safe play because it still leaves him protected from any potential wastelands.
Sure.
I wonder how much damage this Ancient Tomb is going to do to Andrew this game.
Lot.
Oh, like a ton? Like an absolute
like
ton?
over 10.
We'll see if Zinni can find lands here. I mean, he has a land to play next turn. That is something to be said. And he has the Lotus Petal, so like another Lotus Petal would get him to a Show and Tell this turn. But it's unclear if that's going to be enough.
Yeah.
There's a Ponder. Ponder's a pretty excellent draw.
Except it gets countered by Chalice though.
Oh, yeah. Not good. He could...
He really wants lands.
just wants to draw as many lands as possible. Zinni just turning his cards sideways. Both players turning their cards sideways to indicate that they are, in fact, exiled, not in any graveyard.
He might be deciding whether or not he wants to play the Lotus Petal to represent the... Oh, just discards. Doesn't even play the land?
I think he really doesn't want to get wastelanded.
That is shocking.
Yeah, I'm also surprised. We'll see what Andrew has to follow this up
I thought
with.
he was going to play land, Lotus Petal, and... Wow. Sundial of the Infinite?
Man, I'm glad you remembered the name. I knew. Sundial of the Infinite.
Great art.
Great art.
Great name.
Strange card.
Strange card.
Only really good for... so this is specifically here for the interaction with Smokestack.
Okay.
No comment about how powerful that effect is, but that is why it is there. Is that Caracas?
I have no idea.
need to
Tony
get-
has walked himself down a very strange line in this game.
There's an ensnaring
What is
bridge.
that land? Is that just a plains?
I honestly could not tell you. I think it's a plains. I'm going to assume it's a plains.
If anyone can read what that says. I don't think it says Caracas.
No, I don't think so either. Oh, man. Andrew just has, like, all winners in his hand. It's just another bridge and a humility. He's just holding the humility for Show and Tell, which I think is the right play.
Oh, totally. Why cast it?
No reason. Zinni plays Lotus Petal and passes?
The only way I could see...
Ooh, there's a Mistress Factor.
There's a win con.
Yeah.
A way that you could get punished for holding the humility, I suppose, is like... If Tony can go... with way more lands than he has, like end of turn, Bouncer, Abrupt Decay, the Rest in Peace.
All right, Andrew drew the best possible card.
Okay, yeah?
Yeah, he drew... Oh, he's going for it. I wonder if he's going to go for... Okay, yeah, he's going to go for the kill here. Helm of Obedience. For those unaware, this is a combo with Rest in Peace, wherein it mills the opponent's entire deck. Do you think Zay's going to let it resolve?
I think he has to force a vote.
I don't think he does.
Why?
Because he can decay the Rest in Peace.
Ooh. Alright.
And I think that's what we're going to see here. End my turn.
So...
That removes everything from the stack.
Okay.
All abilities.
So it just counters the decay?
Yes.
Wait, what?
It ends the turn. Exile all spells and abilities on the stack.
Oh,
Discard
man.
down to your maximum hand size. Damage wears off, and this turn and until end of turn effects end.
So it's like a repeatable Flicker Wisp.
Let's not go crazy here about how this card compares to other cards.
Okay.
This is a very unique card.
So it's Flicker Wisp.
No, it is not. Don't lie. Anyways, that was so it's interesting to see that he has bridges, if not in his main deck, then at least post board, and it makes sense. I think you just kind of need access to that kind of card, just to be able to beat decks that attack on the ground.
That was a hell of a game.
It was a hell of a game.
I'm very confused.
I like this. I like seeing all these lock elements in play here.
Yeah.
It's just like a strange weaving of like effects. I don't know. It's very interesting. In any case, we'll see how this goes in the game 3 here. Both players again, mulliganing to 5 that game. Andrew's draw really just like, he had an early lock piece, and the Chalice was just, the combination of Chalice and Rest in Peace, I think, was just too much.
Indeed. Yeah, it was basically a lock element the first 3 turns of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony only had an answer for one of them.
Yeah. I'm I think he should have forced, considering that Sundial response, it would have exiled the Helm.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. Tony could have let he could have force of willed the Helm of Obedience.
Yeah,
and that would have stopped that play.
Yeah.
Tony effectively played into the onboard trick there,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of that is because when's the last time you've seen this card in play? Have you ever seen this card in play? I haven't.
Yeah, force willing definitely better there, but also the likelihood that Tony was winning that game seemed very low.
Yep. Let's see if both players can find some larger hands that they're happy with here. I saw at least one land in Andrew's hand.
Tony looking at a pretty decent hand. 3 lands, Careful Study, Force of Will, Grizzlebrand, and Tomb. So just missing the way to get the creature out of the graveyard. Seems like wow, okay. Very aggressive.
I think he would have kept it if it was a better card than... I think,
having Careful Study and Entomb is awkward.
I think I would have been tempted to keep that hand, but I really don't have the experience with Reanimator, and I think, I think mulliganing is usually the right play in this deck because of how redundant it is.
Yeah. It seems on the surface to me like it's better than an average 6, but maybe it's not.
That Careful Study's a Brainstorm. I think it's a perfect hand.
Well, then it's close to perfect.
Yeah, there's put a Lotus Petal and a Reanimate in there, and obviously it's the best hand in the world. But I think that seems maybe having a basic in his hand just seems really good here, and he had fetch lands to find more basics. Maybe it's just not that powerful. I know some people in the chat definitely thinks it is a keep there.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you, but I understand the
New sleeves.
The desire to mulligan. Yeah, new sleeves. Was his only blue card the Careful Study?
He had a Force of Will.
Besides the Force Will is what I mean.
Those are the only 2.
Yeah.
There's 3 lands.
Grizzlebrand.
Force, Careful Study, Grizzlebrand, and Tomb.
I guess his worry is that he'll just end up forcing the first thing Andrew plays and then just never find a reanimation spell.
This hand's fine.
I think this hand's better. It has a Ponder. Doesn't have a Grizzlebrand in it.
Yeah, it has an Abrupt Decay you can't cast, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, you got a Ponder.
Yeah. Ooh, Daze on top.
I think you definitely keep Daze.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance Tony goes Ponder, keep, hopefully, and draw Daze.
Yeah, as long as there are 2 other reasonable cards underneath there,
Yeah, if it's land under the Daze, then he's gonna shuffle, but... and
nope.
It is not.
It's Reanimate and something to find a green source.
Yeah, it seems... Yeah, he puts the Reanimate second, so he can draw that next turn, and next turn he has both Entomb plus Reanimate that he will draw, and... We could even see Tony Force of Will this instead of Daze it. No? Okay.
He's going to go with Daze.
Goes for the value of days. I mean,
I guess it is something to be said about forcibling there,
Yeah,
because
right?
that's the difference between having Grizzlebrand and play this turn and not.
exactly. And you can draw 7 and hopefully, or draw 14.
And now he's going to get wastelanded. Although that's not getting wastelanded is really not the worst thing in the world, because he gets to entomb in response.
Yes.
He'll probably float the mana, and then Andrew will attempt to change phases.
Yeah. If Andrew has another Chalice, though, Tony is very exposed.
Yeah, Chalice is an absolute beating here.
It doesn't look like he has it, but, like, I think the other line is better. I could be wrong.
I think I agree with you. I think having the Grizzlebrand in play this turn would be optimal.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is that Forcible in your hand worth right now? You don't even have another blue card.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he would be much further ahead.
He's pondering here whether or not he wants to get Bayou, I think.
No, he's entombing.
Oh.
I think he's deciding whether or not he wants. I don't think he would entomb Bayou, for what it's worth.
Yeah, fair.
I think he's deciding if he wants to play around Caracas, and that's why he's stopping on Grizzlebrand.
Looking at Grave Titan, I think I would still get Grizzlebrand.
He's going to go for Iona.
Huh.
Now, I don't love Iona because you're exposed to the ensnaring bridges that Andrew has in his deck. I think I agree with the chat that Tidespout Tyrant is where I would go towards.
Okay.
Either Tidespout Tyrant or Grave Titan both seem better.
Better than Grizzlebrand?
Better than Iona.
Oh, sure. I think Iona's, like, maybe one of the worst.
I don't know if it might be one of the worst. I mean, taking 9 is not irrelevant, but we'll see if Andrew has a follow-up play here.
He attacks for 7.
He's just going to pass back. It does attack for 7.
Alright, reanimate. Go.
There's Iona.
What color do you name?
Let me guess.
Has he seen any white cards? Oh, wait, he did last game.
What about all the planes?
Sorry.
Andrew promptly knocking over a third of his deck.
This is a problem with new sleeves.
Yeah, the order
No,
actually does not matter except for the bottom card.
Yeah. Yeah, just push it down.
I think once you see a bunch of artifact permanents, you want to go for something else. This does beat the O-ring in his hand, but does he have the bridge? He's got at least one helm in his hand. And the O-ring?
He has a Humility in his hand.
2 helms.
If he just draws planes next turn, he can play Humility.
Andrew's hand is actually pretty poor here. Although
Tony doesn't have a second blue card for Force of Will.
Yeah, he's bricked twice. I think he's just drawn 2 reanimates in a row. There's another
O-ring.
Oblivion Ring. Andrew really needs to draw a bridge. Oh no, he has another Entomb. Oh, okay. This is much worse.
This time,
I think you get
going for Tidespout Tyrant?
I think you get Grizzlebrand, but I don't know. Whenever I look through the deck, I just always want to put Grizzlebrand into play.
Oh, he's going for Sire of Insanity.
Oh, well, that seems really good.
Tony's lost his mind.
God, I've lost to this card a lot in my life.
I hope Tony plays Show and Tell.
He has another reanimate in his hand.
Lame.
Yeah, I do agree, though, that playing Humility is really difficult when Iona is naming white.
Oh, good point.
Playing it is, but putting it into play isn't that bad.
Fair.
Mistress Factory
Whoa,
and a concession from Andrew. It looks like he's just wasn't able to draw a relevant something that interacted with this Iona.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was Caracas in his deck, but we know he had at least a few copies of Ensnaring Bridge available. But I guess Tony put him on having exactly that as his out.
Yeah, Iona seems like an odd choice, but what can you do? I wonder how many Caracas are actually in Bowman's deck.
Yeah, I wish we had more information in that regard, because it's just not clear.
Yeah, the list could be like anything.
Yeah, like Mono White Stacks is not exactly a deck where you just have a standard deck list. Something you could just like refer to. Oh yeah, the Mono White Stacks list that Jerry Thompson played at the last GP.
Yeah, he wrote about it in his article.
In any case, should I hop out there and see if there's another game?
Yeah, get out of here.
All right.
What's up, chat? Do you like Iona? I think it's okay. David Byer thinks he had swords in hand too. Swords would be an interesting card. I don't know if you can play it in stacks. Or like, because like, presumably you're trying to chalice on one, but maybe you figure if you have chalice on one, you're doing well anyway, so you don't mind the dyssynergy. Not totally positive about that. Again, I do not know stacks lists. I'm not a stacks expert. Ludicrous, thank you for the congratulations. I was happy about it. It's probably my last tournament with Rally, so I was happy to do well in it. I got, I think, I'm not lucky, but I survived a game 2 in the finals of this PPTQ on this past Sunday, actually at Card Market. It was the Rally Mirror, and I managed to drain my opponent out for Xaxes the turn before he was going to kill me by a mile. So it was a real nail biter. And the last turn took like 15 minutes for the both of us to figure out, because basically in response to my Zulaport Cutthroat, my opponent started sacking a bunch of stuff after his rally. He had rallied back a bunch of creatures, started sacking things in response to my Cutthroat. And in response to him sacking things, I rallied myself. It was just a complete mess. And judges and us were trying to figure out everything that happened and every point of life that was drained. 7-0 says, I feel like the cards that beat Reanimator in Death and Taxes are the same cards in mono-white stacks. Thorn instead of Thalia, obviously. It should be a decent matchup. Yeah, I guess differences would be that I don't know how many like Swords to Plowshares stacks can play. Also, Flicker Wisp is great. Also, like, I don't know how many Caracas are in the stacks deck. It might still be 3 or something. And that card's obviously great against Reanimator. Also, I don't know if there's anything like Pithing Needle in the stacks deck. Probably some amount, but just being able to name Grizzlebrand can be pretty relevant at times. But David Beyer thinks that it was a soul read getting Iona. And I guess it did look pretty good there at the end of that game, considering that Andrew Bowman had 2 copies of Oblivion Ring stuck in his hand that he couldn't cast on the Iona, so that seems pretty good. Every game that I look at with Reanimator, though, I always think that I would just get Grizzlebrand because drawing 7 seems like it would be so great, but it must be just the wrong way to approach things. I haven't played Reanimator myself, so I'm not the person to ask for advice there. I know David Byers definitely played more Reanimator than most. Yeah, definitely having Clock against Reanimator is nice, because sometimes they have to try to cantrip into their answers for permanent-based hate, like, you know, finding their brainstorms to help them find their abrupt decays or whatever the answer might be that's needed. Yeah, TX Rager also thinks you always get Grizzlebrand. Yeah, it just seems too good. I know against Death and Taxes, a lot of people like Grave Titan, and a lot of people like Tidespout Tyrant also. And they definitely have their moments. Both of those can be very powerful and annoying. Cook the Fourth, talking about the new Sorin art. Yeah, I think it's kind of blah, personally. I also think that the abilities on the Sorin are kind of unexciting, I guess. It seems like we've had so many 5 and 6 mana planeswalkers that do approximately the same things. Like, the plus draws you a card and maybe something else, and the minus answers a creature on the board and maybe something else, and the ultimate, you know, never happens. Like, specifically, I guess the ones that I'm comparing the Sorin to are the new 5-mana Jace and also Ob Nixilis. They all seem like kind of echoes of each other to a certain extent, and I don't personally find them super exciting.
Echoes?
What? Copies?
Carbon copy.
Okay, carbon.
It's the same card.
Yeah.
It's honestly frustrating to see. I hate that. I like the new Sorin more than you do. I think the new Sorin is quite good.
Maybe.
Obviously 6 mana is a real restriction.
Yeah.
Especially when there's already an extremely good 6 mana planeswalker.
Chandra.
Yeah.
Very different colors.
Chandra is a pillar of the format. Chandra is a very important pillar of the format.
But it seems like at the moment, the only deck it makes sense in is like Ramp, right?
Maybe. I mean, is there an Oath of Nissa deck that plays that?
Oh yeah, maybe like a Nia Walker's deck.
I mean, you have Oath of Nissa, Gideon, Arlen Cord, Chandra. Like, that's a pretty powerful core. Archangel Avacyn.
Sylvan Advocate if you want it.
It's the best 2-drop in the format, probably.
After Jace.
Yes, it's the best. It's the best. It's the best non-Jace 2-drop. I really.
2-drop.
There are people who are saying that Jace is going to get worse, and I'm extremely skeptical of that.
I think the way that I could see Jace getting worse is that it seems likely that it's going to be way more restricted what color spells you can play alongside it.
Yes.
And in that sense, I could see it getting worse because flashing back like Crackling Doom is pretty sweet.
Painful Truths.
Yeah, but now it seems likely that you can't really do that.
Yeah. On the plus side, you know what's not rotating?
What?
Galactic-Company. You could still flash back Galactic-Company.
Yeah, we'll see if 3-color mana bases are realistic.
I mean, I would say I'm confident, but really I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
We'll see. Like, you have a bunch of enemy duels right now.
Yeah, you have like 8 good ones.
Good. Two.
8 copies in your deck or something.
I mean, no, well, you have 12 with the coming to play tapped ones in the new one. Ugh. It's fine. You played like Hoagland's black-white deck played 4 Scoured Barons.
Yeah, that deck was bad.
That deck was not that bad. Having a good mana, Paul Rietzel played that deck before he did.
Yeah.
Not to like shade Hoagland or anything like that, but like Paul Rietzel's a luminary.
He's very good.
But having a mana base it's something to be said about having a mana base that's relatively painless like that.
Yeah.
And like only has the only coming to play tap lands are just actual duels.
Mm-hmm.
But like having 12 dual lands is a big deal.
In
decks that likely want to play like Grasp of Darkness.
Sure.
And other spells, like having a bunch of enemy dual lands is something to be cognizant of going forward.
Yeah, and we'll see what they print.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's going to be a major direction point for helping people figure out what is possible.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with when the format when the format starts, it's just important to change the title of the tournament. Greg, hey Greg.
Hey.
Thursday Night Wednesdays. By the way, Greg, did you know it's Thursday?
Thank you, non-basic land.
And we're playing Legacy. Who's on what side? Okay, this is me.
We fixed the other screen, just not this one yet.
Non-basic land. You mean one Bob Agra?
Yeah. Oh, is it? I didn't know that was non-basic land.
Pretty sure that's his Twitter handle.
That's sweet.
Anyways, Black Control is interesting. I mean, like, as in every format, the biggest thing is having the right mana. Mana defines everything, and we just don't know what the mana is going to be like.
Yeah.
So it's really it's impossible to deck build is the first thing.
Yep.
Like we actually can't do anything.
Very frustrating.
Why, Greg?
I just want to play Olivia.
I was watching Andrew Cuneo stream, and he was just like sitting there, and he paused for a second. And he's like, "I wish they'd spoil the lands." Except there's more. It's like I wish they'd spoil the lands. Like he was more upset. Oh,
well, that seems like a willful decision on WotC's part to like make it harder for people to start preparing for the Pro Tour. Yeah, I mean, like if you have the lands, then you have like almost all of the information you need to make a gauntlet and start playtesting.
Yes.
But right now it's kind of impossible.
Sorry, I meant to say there was only one match still going on, and it was Dredge versus Jeskai Stoneblade.
Whoa. We haven't seen Dredge in forever.
Well, we lost our resident Dredge player.
Yeah.
Who became a resident Storm player thanks to me.
If Dredge wins, we should try to watch that.
I watch Dredge. I like Dredge.
It's very fun.
I love unique decks. I love Legacy because of unique decks.
Yeah.
And Dredge is an extremely unique deck.
Icarid still is probably my favorite card art. It's top 10. It's so good.
RK Post nailed it, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to read the art direction for that card. How'd they come up with that? Let's pull up Icarid.
Draw something terrifying and badass.
God, look at that. That is just awesome.
Yeah.
What an awesome card.
It looks awesome. That looks like looking at that card, it looks like that was the art direction for Innistrad. Like
something
when they
like that.
thought up Innistrad, they were like, all right, let's just make every card kind of look like this.
Right. We got let's see who we got here. Looks like Dredge did not win.
TX Rager, our resident Dredge player was Kevin Kingsley, who turned into one of our resident Storm players, but now he moved to Denver, so he is no longer a resident.
Should we watch?
So
What should we watch?
You said Dredge lost. Okay. We could watch Tony versus Outman.
The Grizzlebrand Mirror?
Is it? Oh, is he playing Show and Tell?
Reanimator versus Show and Tell. Man, it must suck to have Show and Tell in your deck.
Yeah, we could.
Your opponent
watch
puts in
that.
their Grizzlebrand?
Yeah, I'm fine watching that.
Yeah, let's put them on.
All right. So we're gonna watch two friends here who also hate each other, of course. Tony Zinni and Anthony Houtman, or Tony Zinni and Kyle Houtman.
There you go. Kyle Zinni and Zinni Houtman.
Yeah. Spaghetti Zinni.
It's the one. Anyways, oh yeah, sorry, there are no links allowed in the chat there.
We can put that link in ourselves though.
Yes, we can. I want to put this in here because this looks awesome.
Yeah. We also know non-basic land. What is this link?
Behind the Canvas RK post. It's about Icarid. I think at least a little bit.
Oh, like yeah. Oh yeah.
This card needs to show a horrible-looking non-human creature about to attack the viewer. It should be coming out of a grave after feasting on a corpse.
Nice.
Man, look at that.
That is a very far-flung interpretation of what they asked for.
That's incredible. This art is so good. It's so good.
The Icarid itself is like, it's like, what is that worm? It is like
That's that.
Yeah.
It looks like a
head
thing.
is just terrifying.
I love this card so much. Anyways, we can hop down, actually see the players.
Who needs them?
Oh, there they
All
are.
right. Well, there's Tony on the left.
Thankfully sitting on the same side.
Nice.
It's because he cares about us. I don't think that's why. Let me reset the overlay while we're at it.
For anyone who missed it, we were talking about Dredge. Unfortunately, Alex lost round 1. If he rebounds, maybe we can get to see him in round 3. We'll see what happens. Other decks we have in the house include Jeskai's Stoneblade, which beat Dredge last round. Maverick, played by Zeke. Storm, played by Tim Coletti. Stacks, which we just saw by Andrew Bowman. Tony Zinni with Reanimator, Kyle Houtman, who's sitting on the right now with Sneak and Show, and Brian Sherman playing something that we didn't get a chance to scout.
I mean, last week he was playing that like adjusted Pauper mono red deck. I think it was originally a Pauper deck.
Sure.
But
we'll see if you got some new cards.
Yes. I will say. Oh, by the way, I've noticed that we thought we had more than 8 players tonight. It turns out we have exactly 8.
Okay.
So we're only going to be able to bring you 3 rounds tonight, unfortunately.
So it goes.
But yeah, we're going to be watching this Grizzlebrand Mirror here. Oh, I forgot to change Kyle's name.
I think we might have a chunk of players who are a little magicked out at the moment. There was a PPTQ here at Card Market this past Sunday, and SCG Indianapolis is this weekend in Indianapolis, which I just said. It is standard, though.
Greg, what happened at the PPTQ? Do you know who won?
I did not lose a match.
Didn't lose a match. Greg Schaefer.
Yeah. Rally's great.
Rally is great. So your only bad Rally tournament was Houston?
Yeah.
Where you just, like, couldn't win a game?
Yeah. I think every other tournament I played in with Rally...
Somebody dropped Sydney from the tournament round 1 for some
Okay.
reason,
Oh, okay.
Repairs.
Repairs.
So Howman's actually playing Sydney.
Oh, let's get that.
I would rather watch that. That's
Okay.
fine.
Alright.
Is Sydney playing Death and Taxes?
Hopefully.
That's all Sydney plays.
Okay.
Yes. All
Alright.
right.
I haven't seen him play anything else.
Sweet.
Yes. I was wrong. We might have 4 rounds.
So Houtman is, from what I've played against, the most adept Sneak and Show player against Death and Taxes. I think he takes great lengths with his sideboards to make the matchup close to 50-50. And I think it's actually potentially favorable for him post-board. So...
He also has just, like, so much experience in the matchup.
Yeah.
I think Kyle plays this deck extremely well.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, he got what, 33rd at GP Seattle with this deck?
Yep.
He went 12-3 and got 33rd.
He went he went 12-3 at that GP, and he also went 12 and I guess Detroit was modern, but yeah, he had
He's had a very good run at GPs lately. He's a very good player. He's yet to break through to that next level, but I think he's very close.
I mean, one match away in Detroit.
Twice, one match away.
Yeah, he was one match away in the
modern GP and the legacy GP.
he went 12-3 at that?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, really, really close.
Yeah.
Those are both very big GPs, so the 12 and 3s got pushed down pretty far. I'm going to leave this at... Let me... actually... We're going to assume...
I think Sydney's on Death and Taxes.
He might be on Shardless.
Oh, he could be, yeah.
We're going to just not have a deck name.
For now.
Yes, we're going to
Until we
wait
see.
until he shows it to us, and then we'll put it up there.
We'll know pretty quickly.
Is Sydney...
Shardless
Did they give him a
and,
bye? They did give him a bye.
Wait, why do you...
Because he was the 9th player. He has three match points.
Oh, yeah, I guess...
Zinni got paired down against Brian Sherman.
Okay.
Brian Sherman, who blew him out horribly
Last week.
with the Simian Spirit Guided Relic.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Best of MTG Cardmarket Live.
Easily. Notably because of my truly shrill cackle.
Oh, yeah.
That went along with it. Alex, looks like Alex did get the bye this round, so Dredge will be 1-1 after this.
Yeah.
Could watch Dredge next round.
We could.
I'm excited. I like Dredge.
Dredge is great.
Shardless. Okay, he is playing Shardless.
All
It's on
right.
the Guru Island side.
Yeah, that's not D&T.
Definitely not. What if he's playing High Tide?
That would be exciting.
That would be interesting. I don't think it would be exciting.
Maybe not.
I just don't care for that deck.
I kind of like it.
I don't hate it. It's just like, it very much feels like a bad Storm deck to me.
Yeah, it needs some help.
That's one way to put it. Funnily enough, I know Sam Black posted some videos of playing Sneak and Show in a daily event today, and he lost, I think, 4 out of 5 of his rounds.
Okay.
And it just reminded me how I feel about Sneak and Show. I don't hate Sneak and Show, but I do hate playing Sneak and Show.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of Storm online, right? Although that matchup is close.
I think that matchup is close and favorable for Storm.
Yeah.
In general. I think that... I don't think he played against Storm, though.
Oh.
Just like
what did you lose to?
Lost to Shardless one round.
Ugh.
Lost to... I think he beat Miracles because he drew his main deck Jace and resolved it.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what else he played against. I don't really remember.
All right, 6 cards for Sydney. Here's a Maelstrom Pulse.
Oh, that's not a great one. I mean, unless he thinks that Kyle is playing Tesserator.
Also, Sydney forgot to scry.
It is a Expedition fetch land. I don't know which one, but it is one of them.
It's not Flooded Strand.
Oh, Sydney noted that he forgot to fetch, and Kyle's like, just or scry is like, just do it.
Yeah.
Kyle gonna start by fetching. Yeah, it's definitely not Flooded Strand. I don't know which one it is.
Maybe Polluted Delta.
That is possible, yes. It's got to be either Polluted Delta or Verdant. I think it's Polluted Delta because it's not Verdant Catacombs
must
either,
be.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no Expedition land it would be, right? That's besides that.
Not to my knowledge.
Let's see if Sydney has a turn to him. Pretty important for fighting this matchup. That's a Misty Rainforest, right?
Indeed. At least I think it is.
All right, I'm gonna look up the Polluted Delta. Yep, nailed it.
Hello, Tinfin and Snowy.
Oh man, I love that. I love that name.
Yeah,
Ponder
we should
here.
Really rename the stream.
Yeah, Ponder here from Kyle. We see a Lotus Petal and a Sneak Attack among his cards. So that's at least one half of his combo. It looks like he's pleased. Draws Grizzlebrand. Yeah, he's got both.
Yep.
I mean, once he gets this, yeah, I love Expeditions in the sense that I look at them and I have no idea what they are.
Yeah. They look like...
They look like Magic cards.
Kind of.
I mean, a little bit, right?
They look like some vague echo of a Magic card.
Sydney fetching twice here, picking up an Underground Sea and a Tropical Island. We got perfect mana.
I like how Sydney paged past the first Tropical Island to get... This looks like an unlimited Tropical Island.
Oh, it's definitely unlimited. I don't know. At least, I think most of his dual lands are unlimited.
Okay. Well, he definitely skipped by the first trop.
Ooh, so we got the Naked Shardless Agent.
Let's get
Trigger.
lucky. Ooh.
It's good to put that at the bottom.
That's a good one.
That's the one you want. Let's see if Kyle has the Spell Pierce. I think he does. This matchup's got to be very, very difficult for Shardless Bug pre-board and not much better post-board.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it depends on how much discard you can find?
I think it depends if your opponent puts a Blood Moon into play.
Oh, or that.
Him and Torak getting Spell Pierced. Kyle draws. He's still not quite at Sneak Attack Man, but I believe he does have a Show and Tell in his hand.
I wonder if it's go time.
I kind of think it is.
I mean, he doesn't... If he goes for it now, he doesn't have mana to fight back with Soft Permission.
It looks like he's just going to Ponder instead.
Yeah, I mean, next turn he can have...
Oh, there's Ancient Tomb. And another Petal. Or a Petal. And he's just going to shuffle it.
It was all mana. I think he's looking for, like, another Spell Pierce or something.
Or a Force of Will.
Yeah. Just a way to beat one counter.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think just having some protection is going to be pretty critical for him.
Finds Volcanic Island.
Not ideal.
No.
I believe he has more cantrips in his hands, though. Yeah, he's at least one copy of Preordain.
Okay. So he goes for that before playing his land for the turn.
Mm-hmm. There's
Looks
a Lotus
at
Petal.
Lotus Petal, something else. Bottoms both. Is that another? No, that's a Grizzlebrand.
Another Grizzlebrand. He might also be looking... Well, finding Emrakul is not super important.
It seems like he's just looking for Force of Will or Pierce.
Mm-hmm. Something to protect from either a Hymn to Torak or Sydney's Force of Will.
Yeah, but looking at Sydney's hand, he has nothing.
Just nothing?
He has, like, Abrupt Decay, Maelstrom Pulse,
Ugh.
Ancestral Visions, Tarmogoyf, all these cards that just don't matter.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and there's a Goyf. Yeah, this is just a bunch of creatures. This is all pretty beatable for Kyle. I mean, a Lotus Petal would be at least pretty good because it would let him go Sneak Attack and activate it immediately.
Yeah. I wonder...
Ooh, look
if
at
he's
that.
going to bother playing around Force of... Like, Force of Will is the only thing that matters at this point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
At least, in Kyle's mind.
Kyle going to draw here. Finds a Brainstorm.
Ooh. So we might see him Brainstorm first.
What,
looking for a Force of Will.
I mean, the question is, like, what's... He probably needs to put in Sneak Attack and activate in the same turn.
You don't think... Well, there's Force. You don't think he's just going for...
Sneak Attack pass?
Or does he have Show and Tell? Or does he not have Show and Tell?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
If he had Show and Tell, this would be different.
I thought he did.
Yep.
Yeah, he does have Show and Tell. It's the Judge promo. So he can have third land, Show and Tell with Force of Will back up.
That does protect him from Liliana, if that's a worry. I think we're definitely going to see Show and Tell played this turn, though.
Yeah. Seems good.
Kyle going to 15 here.
Sydney, I think has any permanent to put into play either.
They're all already in play.
Yeah, I think he has. I think Sydney's hand is Abrupt Decay, Maelstrom Pulse, and Ancestral Visions.
Oh boy.
So I mean, in theory, Sydney can try to Maelstrom Pulse this Grizzlebrand, but
That's definitely going to get Force of Will.
yeah, Kyle already has the Force.
All right, and there's Grizzlebrand coming in. Sydney has no permanent to put into play, and we just have Grizzlebrand versus a bunch of Dirtle creatures. Kyle's just going to ship the turn back to Sydney.
MTG Card Market's in Chicago.
That's where we are.
It is where we are.
And it's great.
In the frozen tundra.
Frozen Tundra is beautiful out today.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah, here's the Maelstrom Pulse.
Here's the Pity Pulse.
See if Kyle just immediately Force of Wills this.
Yeah, draw 7. Why
Let's draw
not?
7 first.
See if he has another Force of Will.
I wonder if there's a misdirection in his main deck. That would be pretty funny.
That would not be nice.
It wouldn't be nice.
Doesn't find another Force of Will, so he's going to use the one he has. Which I think is fine.
And now all he needs to do is start attacking, and this game will quickly get wrapped up. Pitching a Preordain.
Sydney's already played a land. There's basically nothing Sydney could have past this that matters.
Yeah.
In the bug colors.
No, there's very little I think Sydney can do to come back from this. Kyle notably doesn't. I don't believe Kyle has another fatty.
Sure.
So he just needs to find like an Emrakul or something to put that into play. Actually lock this game up.
Overwoot asks, what's the meta like at MTG Card Market? I would describe it in general as Delver light.
Yes.
Delver and Miracles light.
Yes. I'd agree with that.
So a lot of Death and Taxes, a lot of like Stoneblade decks, a decent amount of also a lot of Storm typically. We only have one Storm tonight, but
we have 2 to 3 players usually.
Yeah.
Kyle fetching here. Looks like he did find the Emrakul, so that's going to come into play this turn, likely off of another copy of Show and Tell.
Yeah. And that is indeed a foil Goyf. Sydney's cards in general are very nice.
Oh my goodness.
That is also that's a foil Wasteland also. Although I guess that's a lot cheaper than foil original Tarmogoyf.
Crazy. Just crazy. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
Kyle thinking right here. He did find a sneak attack, so if he has a pedal, he will be able to kill Sydney this turn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe he does, though. Because he can Show and Tell in the sneak attack and then activate it if he has Lowe's Belly.
Yeah.
Nope, just going to attack for 7. Just a 7/7 lifelinker, no big deal.
Yeah.
God. Grizzlebrand is a really dumb card.
Yep.
I guess I should say Show and Tell is a really dumb card.
Yeah, Grizzlebrand's pretty smart. It lets you draw 7 cards.
Yeah. Deathright getting activated to put Kyle to 11. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, yeah. Kyle's not just gonna die. Kyle making sure he just doesn't grow the Goyf. That's the most important thing he could do here, is not let Tarmogoyf get bigger. We've only got instant sorcery and land currently in the graveyard. Discarding Emrakul wouldn't be the worst, just because it shuffles in his graveyard. I guess it does make it smaller. He's just gonna discard a few lands. He did have the pedal. Huh.
Yeah, I wonder.
Sydney drawing. See if he can find a way through this game.
2 turn ones, or turn 2s.
Goyf and Shardless Agent attacking for 5 here, dropping Kyle down to 6. Sydney playing another Wasteland and just sending both of them at Kyle's underground Volcanic Islands.
Sure.
I think Kyle's just okay with this. He's going to float some mana. Let it happen.
Kyle with, I think, did he leave himself with a Soul Land in hand? Or?
Yes.
Okay. So he has Soul Land. I don't know if he has Petal or not. Uses one of the floating blue mana from the Volcanic Islands that just went away.
All right. Back to Kyle. Plays a Lotus Petal. Plays a Lotus Petal.
Storm is 2.
Show and Tell.
Show and Tell is going to reveal Sneak Attack.
Put an Emrakul and we're done here.
Yeah.
I kind of think Kyle could have done that last turn.
It's possible. Maybe he was scared of going too all in with into counter magic, but like
Grizzlebrand in play. Well, who cares?
Yeah.
Anyways, going to game 2 here, and now Sydney gets the sideboard, I think, significantly more heavily than Kyle.
Yeah, Abrupt Decay not so good in this matchup.
It's not great. Yeah, I think we're just going to see Kyle bring in a bunch of Blood Moons. I don't think anything else is too great. He could... I mean, nothing else. Is anything else, like, really good? These Red Blasts, these Omnisciences? He's a couple Omniscience and a couple Through the Breach in the sideboard, but, like, I don't even know what those are for. I mean, Through the Breach is really for when, like, one of your pieces isn't that good? Omniscience
is for, like, Death and Taxes.
Oh, you mean in order to beat Caracas?
Yeah.
That makes sense, actually. He also has at least one copy of Inferno Titan in his sideboard.
Oh, yeah, that's also for me.
Oh, yeah. I hope he brings it in, but I know he's not going to bring it in.
Yeah.
Just doesn't seem like the best matchup for it. I just love Inferno Titan. Inferno Titan brings me a lot of joy.
It's a great card.
It is a great card. I'm not sure why, but it always just felt less abusive than Primeval Titan, because for the entirety of its legality, in Standard, Primeval Titan was just an absolute house.
Oh yeah.
Pillar of the format. This card was probably the second most played. This or Sun Titan, right?
Yeah, Grave Titan had its moments. Frost Titan by far the runt of the litter.
I hate Frost Titan. No interest in playing that card.
Well, they knew that they didn't want to give blue the best one.
No, they just printed Consecrated Sphinx instead.
Yeah.
I don't know. They must have just
the
switched.
honorary blue Titan.
They must have just switched the names on accident. That's the only explanation to me how they ended up printing those in in the same standard.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you look at both Consecrated Sphinx and Frost Titan? When do you think I'd rather tap down a creature than draw two more cards?
Every turn.
Never. You'd rather tap down a creature always?
No.
Oh, okay.
I would not.
Or you'd rather draw two more cards every turn?
I'm not insane. There's a reason why one of them is a slam dunk first pick in Cube. And one is definitely not.
One is named Frost Titan.
Yeah.
I mean, all the rest of the Titans are all very reasonable in Cube Draft. It's hard to be upset with them, obviously depending on the cube.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd take Consecrated Sphinx over almost any of the other Titans.
Yeah, I mean, in a non-powered cube, I think Sphinx is like a great first pick out of pretty much any pack.
I would actually say Sphinx is good in every cube.
Okay.
There is not. I don't think you can. I think
even
it'd be a
really,
powered one.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing in power.
Yeah, because you just cheat it out.
Just play on turn 3
yeah.
instead of like turn 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And it's better then. It turns out.
It is.
Getting it into play that early.
Yeah.
Consecrated Sphinx is just a great card. Why don't we see more? I wish that card saw more play in Modern.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. It's just
not right now, obviously. When Modern is
when it's fixed again.
Sorry, the Eldrazi format. I guess I got a question for you.
What's up?
I think I'm going to try and qualify for a Magic Online PTQ next week.
Okay.
And I think I want to do it playing Lantern. Would I be better off just playing Eldrazi?
Probably.
Damn it. I was really hoping you'd say no.
Yeah, but no.
You're no fun. I got to say that. You're truly an unfun individual.
Yeah, I'm scum.
Ugh. Lantern is so much fun to play. You've never played it. You don't know, man.
I've played against it a bit.
Oh, it's horrible to play against.
Oh, yeah.
Truly horrible. But actually playing it is a delight.
It's very unfun to play against Eldrazi, too, but it's because they just always win.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. I definitely...
Lantern you can beat, but even when you win, it's not fun.
HR Ludicrous in the chat, I agree. I should be playing Mir Superion.
So you can get kicked out of the tournament?
Exactly. For those unaware, there's currently a bug on Magic Online that makes it so that you can just cast Mir Superion with any mana.
Any 2 manas.
Let's pull up Mir Superion for a second.
It's like Tarmogoyf.
This is, it's Tarmogoyf if you went Birds of Paradise into Wall of Roots.
Yeah.
But you have to go...
Super Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it's big. It's bigger than most Goyfs. But turns out something is wrong with Magic Online where this just costs 2 mana. Just 2 any kind of mana.
Yeah, I can't really recall a time in the past where there was a problem with Magic Online.
This is the first bug I can think of.
Yeah.
This is the first bug I can think of in the last 10 hours.
The first time anyone took exception with that great program.
Yep.
So it's pretty unusual.
Pretty unusual. Looks like Sydney mulliganing to 5 here to unfortunately start things off.
Yikes.
After Kyle keeps 7. So this is going to be a pretty uphill battle for him. Hymnotorak is a card that can catch him up.
Yeah.
As well as Ancestral Visions.
Not sure if Sydney was just looking at hands that lacked interaction, lacked lands.
Probably a combination of the two.
Yeah.
All right, Sydney's scrying to the bottom. Starting things off. And we see a Polluted Delta and a pass. Kyle drawing for the turn. Plays Misty Rainforest.
Houtman looking at a Red Blast in his hand. Also looking at a Sneak Attack.
Ooh, is that a Baleful Strix?
It's also a Wipe Away in Houtman's hand.
Wipe Away's pretty interesting. Sydney playing Bayou and playing Thoughtseize. Let's see if Kyle has Spell Pierce. Doesn't look like he does.
I think he does have Brainstorm, though, and he's thinking about whether or not he wants to hide anything.
That's a tough choice. It's obviously it depends heavily on how good his hand is. Actually, that's a Pyroclasm.
Ooh.
A little surprised to see Pyroclasm come in here. Maybe he's afraid of Sydney sideboarding and Meddling Mage.
It's possible. Maybe he's like... He thought he was playing against Anthony Zinni.
I don't think. I mean, it's a common play. I've seen it a lot with these decks. Ooh, Kyle's hand is pretty land light. Didn't play the Ponder on turn 1, and Sydney just gonna take the Force of Will.
Yeah, so it seems like Houtman didn't play the Ponder because he wanted to hold up Red Blast.
There was no Red Blast.
Oh, right.
It's a Pyroclast.
Then I really don't get that play.
Kyle promptly drawing a land. He has Sneak Attack and Show and Tell on a
Maybe he
Brainstorm.
didn't want to get Spell Pierced.
It's hard to play around Spell Pierce out of the Shardless deck.
It is.
Although Sydney notably does have one in his hand. I think that he just drew Flusterstorm for the turn.
Okay. Alright, it seems like Sydney just passing it back. Kyle going to Brainstorm on Sydney's end step.
I mean, the way you beat Spell Pierce with Sneak and Show is you just play your lands.
Yeah.
You play your lands until you can play through Sneak Attack because, right? I mean, at least in this instance, Sydney is showing no pressure, and Sydney missing his third land drop being pretty critical here. He's not. He wants to play this Baleful Strix, but he doesn't want to do it unless he has mana available to fight back against Kyle's combo.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle putting 2 cards back here after this Brainstorm. Let's see if he shuffles. Curious to see. I think he found like a lot of good cards here. And
Yeah.
he is gonna fetch.
Just needs to keep hitting his land drops. I mean, Sydney on a double mulligan. Also, he needs to get a creature into play.
Yeah.
You know, like a longer game is going to favor Houtman more and more, I think.
Oh yeah. Kyle has a lot of combo elements in his hand right now, so I think he's definitely feeling good, especially given how high up he is on cards right now. And he just drew City of Traders.
Well, also to go along with the mountain in his hand, so he has 2 more land drops.
So there's a Ponder start things off. I see a Through the Breach among the cards there. I'm just gonna pull down Mirror Superior.
Yeah, you want to put up Through the Breach?
Yes, I do.
Sweet.
Through the Breach is a nice one.
Yeah, it's a nice way to get around matchups where you think that they're going to have permanent base interaction.
Mm-hmm. It's commonly used to beat stuff like this beats. I mean, anything where Show and Tell is bad, I think, is the main point.
Yeah.
Like if you're afraid your
mirror.
opponent, yeah. Like if you're afraid your opponent's gonna put in like their own hateful permanent off of Show and Tell, like a Ensnaring Bridge, or a Gilded Drake or something.
In this matchup, it could be Liliana the Veil.
You can't put that in off Show and Tell.
Oh God, why didn't I know that?
Why didn't you know that?
I don't know. I guess because I've never had the opportunity to do it.
Sydney with an end step Brainstorm, and it looks like he bricked on a land. Let's see if he's just going for this Hymn to Torak, and he is. Tapping out to do so.
Oh yeah.
Kyle does have a Brainstorm, though, so he is going to be able to protect his combo if he's interested.
Just close your eyes and swing hard.
Yep. I feel like this is just telling you that the door is wide open, so to speak.
It seems like it. Brainstorm seems real good here.
And Kyle does Brainstorm.
I wonder if he's gonna.
Finds Emrakul, Through the Breach, and Preordain.
He can't really afford to hide everything, right? Because he wants to go for it next turn, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he thinks he has time.
You could just hide Show and Tell and a Fatty.
It's like he's just hiding Show and Tell.
I think you kind of have to hide Emrakul.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. He's hiding Emrakul, Show and Tell.
It's important to hide Emrakul because otherwise, if it gets hit, it screws up the card you're hiding.
Sure.
You have to shuffle it back.
That makes sense.
All right, Kyle presenting his 7-card hand. That card's gone. Oh, 6-card hand, excuse me. 2 cards getting selected at random, and they are Preordain and Through the Breach. Those are neither good hits, and also not cards that I think Sydney knew about. I mean, Brainstorms have occurred here, so it's very possible that, there's a lot of information that Sydney's not privy to at this juncture. Kyle going to start things off. Ooh.
Seems like he's content to continue not going for it.
He does have Show and Tell, he does have City of Traders, and he can put in Grizzlebrand here. He's just going to pass back and not play his City. Kyle playing very conservatively here.
Yeah, with Sydney missing a bunch of land drops and having no pressure, I think this is totally fine for Kyle.
I think he just wants to put in Emrakul. Maybe. Oh, I think what he's going to do is put. No, he doesn't have Sneak Attack. He just has Pyroclasm. I honestly don't know what maybe he just wanted to play around Spell Pierce last turn, but he was tapped out.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know. I'm not sure what Kyle's playing around.
Really wanted Emrakul, not Grizzlebrand. Or maybe he doesn't have Grizzlebrand. Just has Emrakul.
He does have Grizzlebrand.
Oh.
Well, there's Emrakul versus Baleful Strix.
They don't match up quite how Sydney might want.
Sydney needs more permanence for this to work out well.
Yeah. Baleful Strix triggers upon entering the battlefield to draw a card.
You think Kyle's gonna not a cast trigger? I was wondering if Kyle's gonna
Pyroclasm.
I think he's going to do it next turn.
Why? You get the value off of attacking with Emrakul.
But you don't get the insult.
That's true. Insulting is good.
Sydney thought seizing here.
I don't know. He doesn't have it. Through the breach.
I'm done.
Pedal.
Sorry, commenter lethal.
All right, he did not have Grizzlebrand.
I'm dumb. I'm mistaken.
So the turn that Kyle hid both Show and Tell and Emrakul, he was just making sure that he didn't get unlucky off of him.
Yes, and I think that was wise. And Sydney actually, that Thoughtseize put him 215, so it actually lethals him.
Oh yeah.
And Kyle taking this one down. Sneak and Show taking down Shardless Bug in 2 games.
Wow, that was fast and furious.
I think this matchup is pretty good for Sneak and Show.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen people go to such lengths as Meddling Mage, right, in the sideboard. Like, Shardless Bug is just not a good deck against combo.
In general, no. I mean,
Naturally.
you're kind of slow. Your curve's a little too high.
Yeah. You're very good against, like, Delver.
Yes. Honestly, the deck performs so well when it draws Deathrite Shaman that I think it's like I've never seen a deck perform
so night and day,
so vastly, so completely differently when it has Deathrite than when it doesn't.
Well, how compared to like a Delver deck when they have Delver? Is it sort of like that?
It's very similar to that, yeah. Or like Delver decks when they have Deathrite on 1 perform not that differently, but when they have Delver on 1, they just kill you. You just die.
Yeah, when their curve is that low anyway, like Deathrite's good, but it's just like letting you do one more 1-mana thing per turn.
Yeah.
Or like draining slowly.
It's not win more or anything like that, but it's not as it's not necessary to the component of to your normal victory. Like Shardless just gets so far ahead when they start on Deathrite because they have so many 2 and 3 mana spells to go along with their 1-mana spells.
When you can start double 2-mana spelling.
Yeah, it's the difference between like casting Shardless on turn 3 or brainstorming to put back Ancestral Visions and then Shardlessing into it on turn 3. Shardlessing into Visions on turn 3.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. Okay, I'm going to hop out there.
Short.
See, hopefully, if someone's between a match. Hopefully we can watch some more Magic.
Sweet. Let's pull up. What should we pull up? Shardless Agent. Also, if anyone wants to talk spoilers, I am all ears. Actually, let's pull up some spoilers right now. Let's look at what came out today. That was interesting. I guess we can look at Sorin. Ooh, is this way too big for our screen? No, looks good. Alright, let's look at Sorin. What do you guys think of this guy? Or if you want to talk about anything at all. Yeah, TX Rager. I'm getting a very strong tribal vibe from the set so far, but it's hard to tell which tribes are going to be fully supported and which aren't. Guns for life. What new 5-drop blue sorcery do you mean? Let's see. I'm going to pull this off screen. Yeah, Ludicrous, I am inclined to believe you or agree with you as well that Arlen is the best planeswalker of this bunch. It just seems like every ability on her is so good. I don't agree of best walker of all time, but let's see. Oh, you're talking about pour over the pages? Let's see. Pour over the pages seems good. Seems good for limited. Definitely very flavorful. What are some of the interesting cards that have been printed or spoiled recently? There's a lot of very intricate, neat cards in this set. Ooh, this is a sleeper I'm thinking about for limited. Rise from the Tides. This is Mythic spoiler, but it's in Japanese. I can show you what it does. Rise from the Tides says, for 5 and a blue sorcery, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield for each instant sorcery card in your graveyard. I feel like this is kind of, I mean, it might not prove to be exactly like spider spawning, but it seems like that this might be one of Wizards' plants of like a niche draft archetype that you can try to build around. It might be like a fog type bug self-mill deck where you just make a ton of zombies all in one turn at the end of the game. Could be something to look out for. I'm looking forward to drafting this set. It looks like a lot of the commons are very like unusual, I guess, like leads to very synergistic drafting, which sounds great to me. I don't know, sounds like it would be really fun. I remember drafting the first Innistrad, and it was probably my favorite format that I've ever gotten to draft. There is a card for Storm called, well, because it says in the title. I think this card is awful, since you still have to pay the card's costs, unfortunately, as harness. Oh, round 3 started?
Yeah, that was actually the last match.
Ooh.
Playing Fast and Furious tonight.
Very.
We have the match we were going to get last round.
Okay. Oh, so Tony Zinni and Kyle Houtman. Tony
Houtman, Kyle Zinni.
Yes.
Kyle doing us such a solid by sitting in the same place. But yeah, we got the old Grizzle mirror.
So this is Reanimator versus Sneak and Show.
It is.
Man, it's Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. I feel like this is definitively
in Reanimator's favor, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like,
I mean, okay, so take it like this: you're both playing a similar deck, but instead of 4 good cards, you just shuffle in 4 show and tells into your deck.
Yeah.
Which are completely and totally uncastable.
It seems pretty risky in this matchup.
You can. I mean, I feel like you can actually only do it if you kill them. You have to put in Sneak Attack and kill them that turn.
Yeah.
But that's like sometimes not even good enough. What if they put in Tidespout Tyrant?
It
and they're
could
just like,
go very
and they
poorly.
just wait. They're just like, all right, go to combat. I don't care.
Well, looks like Tony's taking a mulligan, so that's a good start for Houtman.
I don't think he can keep a hand without either a fatty or
forcible.
Yeah. I mean, a fatty's good, or just like an entomb. I don't know. Like he needs some way to interact.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, the perfect matchup of where you would gladly sideboard out your show and tells for Through the Breaches.
Okay.
I can also see Omniscience coming in here if you don't want to cut your show and tells.
Ooh.
Is that crazy?
Probably not crazy.
Like, maybe it's just not necessary. Like, if you put Omniscience in your deck, you need to cast actual Emrakul after it.
Yeah, this seems like a matchup for Through the Breach.
Yeah, Through the Breach just seems like the best card. Although, like, God, that is so susceptible to daze.
It is.
I don't know how much that's on Tony's mind.
Matchup. I also. Is there like Leyline of Sanctity in? There's not, right? That's not really a thing that gets put in Sneak and Show.
What? Oh, that's definitely been in the sideboard before.
Okay.
But I don't believe Kyle has any.
Okay.
Tony has a hand with a Reanimate, and a Ponder, and a Brainstorm, and an Exhume, but he has no fatty.
Okay.
Starts off with a Ponder.
Looking for that Grizzlebrand. Almost Brainstormed.
Yeah, Entomb, Bayou, and Careful Study. This seems like a pretty easy shuffle.
Agreed.
Oh, I
I
misread it.
Of course, Tony keeps.
Oh no, I'm insane. He has 2 reanimation spells. There's an Entomb there.
Oh.
Never mind. That's a I meant very easy keep. Kyle's just gonna play an island and pass back the turn. Kyle, it does have the advantage of having a bunch of spell pierces in his deck.
Okay.
which is notably very good against Reanimator, given how land light they tend to be and how it really affects their speed. But we'll see if he's able to use it for value.
People really like Pour Over the Pages.
Pour over the page. What's that?
That's 3 blue.
Oh, the draw.
Sorcery. Draw 3, untap 2 lands, discard a card? Or is it draw 3, discard, untap 2?
I don't think you discard. I think you just draw 3. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think you discard. It's like 3, 2, 1. It's probably untap 2, then discard 1. Oh, yeah.
Discard 1, yeah. Fine. Anyways, Entomb on Kyle's end step, and it does resolve. This has got to be just instantly, the Grizzlebrand.
Yep. This seems like a good matchup to draw 7 cards.
I would go a little further. I would say
Good matchup to draw 14 cards.
yes. I would also say, is there a matchup you don't want to draw 7 cards?
Yes.
What?
I don't know.
Struggling to think of it. Notably, Kyle did brainstorm in response to this, and he didn't seem to find any interaction. He might just not have anything. Then he draws, he finds a brainstorm. Do you reanimate or brainstorm? You could brainstorm first.
You could.
Try and find a Force of Will, or you could just jam.
Yeah, he
he's
brainstorms.
I think the brainstorm is pretty free here.
Showing his friends some respect.
Finds Ponder, Swamp, and Careful Study.
He's really looking for Force of Will there, I think.
Yeah, just a bunch of Days. I think would also be Days wouldn't be quite good enough.
One of the things we talked about, so Tony actually had a copy of Show and Tell there.
He had like 1 copy in his main deck.
I think sometimes they play like 2, actually.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. That also was a pretty bad card for Tony. It's just a bad card in general in the matchup.
Careful Study.
Huh.
Kyle lets it resolve.
So Brainstorm, then Careful Study. It doesn't dig as deep into the deck.
I think this Show and Tell's getting discarded. Yep, Show and Tell and Careful Study getting discarded. Are we jamming? We're jamming.
Oh, yeah.
Does Kyle have it?
Yep, no respect.
Uh-oh. I like jamming. I always like jamming, though.
Yikes.
Well, I'll take 8. You can go. I have this 7/7.
Oh, man. Like a lot. I hope you feel better. That sounds alarming.
Oh, boy. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Don't bleed from your eyes. Tony just instantly going to go to 5 here.
Yeah, who cares?
I mean, you're definitely going to find a Force of Will, so.
Or not.
Or just brick wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
You found a Daze. Daze is actually quite good, unless Kyle has a Soul Land. Because it stops Show and Tell for
Emrakul?
Sneak Attack,
Oh,
which is lethal.
I see.
Tony going to discard Tidespout Tyrant and a land. I would almost want the Tidespout Tyrant in my hand as protection from Show and Tell. But maybe that's just wrong. Like, he's probably going to Exhume next turn, if anything else. Tidespout Tyrant does seem very much like game over.
It does. It's an interesting spot, whether or not you want it in your hand or in your graveyard. I don't really know.
Kyle did draw Jace the Mind Sculptor for the turn. Better than all, as they say.
It's not better than Grizzlebrand at the moment.
Well, Grizzlebrand's already in play, and Jace is not.
Yeah.
There's a pedal. This is Jam Jace. This is Jam Show and Tell. See, this is why I was thinking you might want that card in your hand.
Yeah.
Because you could put a land in play.
Uh-huh. He's going to daze it.
I really like this Daze. Because it stops the sneak attack kill.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
See if Kyle puts a land into play. I think he is going to just take his land.
That was extremely adept of Tony.
Yeah. Very heads-up play.
Yeah.
Kyle putting Grizzlebrand into play. And probably just forced to pass back. He might draw 7 now. Yep, and he does.
Kyle is kind of in a good spot because he can draw more than Tony can. Unless, Tony can't even attack. I guess he can because he's going to gain life, but,
Ooh, Kyle did find a couple of Force of Wills, though.
Force of Will is great here.
This is dueling Grizzlebrands.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually never seen this before. Just 2 Grizzlebrands in this is
What's
also
not to like?
Ooh, Ooh, here's an end step Entomb from Zinni. I think if you're Kyle, you just let this resolve. Like, you could force because you're going to discard to hand size anyways, but he already has Tidespout Tyrant in his yard.
Is he going for Iona?
It would make me laugh a lot if he went for Elishnorn. Okay, he's going to go for Iona. Just like, make my Grizzlebrand bigger. 9 you.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I think Exhume, though, is going to get Force of Willed.
I can't imagine Exhume is resolving here. But yes, Iona is going to hit the yard, and this is probably just going to try and name... Well, does it name blue? It does name blue.
I think it would name blue.
I don't think it's ever going to get into play, but...
Agreed.
We'll see. Kyle just has to discard to hand size at the moment. Probably just going to pitch a couple lands.
Very interesting how this could have worked out a lot better for Tony had he kept the Tidespout in his hand.
If he has Tidespout in play here, I think he's just locked.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that can stop him from winning. But yeah, Kyle right now just deciding what cards he wants to discard to his hand size. Just wants to make sure he keeps double force with double blue card.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing that he can do here.
Pure Gosu. I've actually heard some people talking locally about switching to Bug Delver and it potentially being good against Eldrazi. Like if you have fewer Abrupt Decays, more things like Liliana or Murderous Cut.
Murderous Cut's a pretty powerful card.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot speak for that myself because I have not played the deck. And I've not played against Eldrazi with it for sure. But I don't think Bug Delver is bad now.
Nope. All right, Exhume getting cast and Kyle gonna force a will at pitching Ponder. Unsurprisingly, seeing that card being fought over here.
Yeah.
Let's see if Zinni has a follow-up. He's just gonna attack. Yeah, you just have to block, right? Do you draw 7 first if you're Kyle? Yeah, he is gonna draw 7. Going to 5. They're gonna die. I mean, now Kyle's the one with 14 cards in his hand.
Yeah.
Let's see if he picked. I think he might have picked up a third Force of Will too. So notably, both players at 12 life here.
And just Tony, man, he's just so far behind now.
Yeah. So here's Ponder seeing Bayou, Petal, and Exhume.
Exhume's all right. I mean, I guess he
It gives Kyle back his Grizzlebrand though.
Oh, that's a very good point.
I don't even know. This is just gonna be a reanimate, right? Reanimate on Grizzlebrand or maybe on Iona. Another forcible from Kyle here.
The problem with doing it on Tony's own turn, well, he doesn't really have a great spot for it, I guess, but it allows Kyle to use more of these cards that he's drawn before he has to discard the hand size. Like he's getting so many free spells out of these forcibles.
Yes. Kyle fetching right here, going to 10, picks up a Volcanic Island. This might be Sneak Attack and activate this turn with Force backup, which would be hard to beat.
Yeah.
Tone just hasn't drawn a Force of Will.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is actually just show and tell Sneak Attack. Oh, but he has a Grizzlebrand.
Jeez.
But is this Emrakul? It is.
Attack.
And 15 you? Do we have a response? Do we want to? Nope. We're going to game 2.
Man.
Zinni not finding any Force of Wills in his top 7 cards was, I think, the defining aspect of that game.
I agree.
Also, discarding that Tidespout Tyrant.
That was the game, pretty much?
I think so. And that's the thing. I don't know if it's a mistake.
I don't know either.
I do not have it. I'm not comfortable at all saying it was or was not.
Yeah, I mean, the way it worked out there, he definitely got punished.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's hard to call it just a mistake.
Yes. This post-board, this should be pretty interesting because Kyle gets to bring in Grafdigger's Cage, as well as some Pyroblasts and those Through the Breaches.
Sure.
Zinni gets to bring in a couple extra elements for discard, as well as a couple other better fatties to bring in. Like he gets to cut this Elishnorm, which has no text. Grave Titan's pretty awful too.
Yeah, it's too dirty. You just want Grizzlebrand.
You want Grizzlebrand. You want Sire of Insanity.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
a nice one.
Yeah.
Iona is fine.
It's okay.
I think it's extremely average. Blazing Archon is pretty good, though. That's a card to decide.
Tidespout's good.
Yeah.
You want not Elesh Torn, not Grave Titan.
I would almost be tempted to side out Iona. Like, I think the normal number is 8 creatures in the deck. Is that right?
Okay. That sounds about
It's
right.
like 4 Griselbrand,
And some other
Iona,
stuff.
Elesh Norn, and then I think it's Tidespout and Grave Titan. And he might be 9 with Sire.
Okay.
But yeah, he's
Sire might be in the board?
quickly boarded out Grave Titan there.
Yeah.
I'm unsure if it's in the board or not.
Board's out Lotus Petal. Maybe anticipating a bit of a longer game.
Yeah, if so, Lotus Petal certainly loses quite a bit of value.
Did Tony just leave Show and Tell on his deck?
He might have. I think he was thinking about Iona right there. I really don't know how good Iona is. Yeah, I agree that it's pretty subpar. No, he cut the show and tell.
Okay.
He's boarding in Thoughtseize, Pithing Needle, since the Kyle's best card is going to continue to be Sneak Attack.
Yeah.
And an Echoing Truth. I think similarly we'll see Kyle bring in his Wipe Away, as well as Pyroblasts.
Yeah, and Kyle probably also taking out Show and Tell, presumably.
Yeah, I think so. I would not be surprised to see him cut all copies of Show and Tell.
Yeah. Very weird matchup. Definitely seeing how the other side lives in Legacy.
Yeah, all these goofy Griselbrand combo decks.
Yeah.
Who do you think is favorite post board?
It's hard for me to say that things changed like drastically. I imagine that things are a little bit better for Houtman now. That he's gone to take out some of the weaker elements that we identified earlier. It might just come down to like it might not be that lopsided of a matchup anyway. Like they're both just really powerful decks.
Yeah, and they both just act in similar ways. I mean, they both have good hate cards too. Like it just
the hate cards aren't like crazy haymakers though. It's
Grafdigger's Cage is a haymaker.
Okay, Cage is
That's
great.
like Grafdigger's Cage is a haymaker, and honestly, Needle is close to a haymaker. Like Kyle's best play is to get like Griselbrand is the defining card of this matchup, but the things that end the matchup are the other creatures. Like Griselbrand alone is because both players have access to it.
Yeah,
it's hard to. It doesn't seem like it's necessarily straightforward to close the door. Like we saw that Zinni put Griselbrand in play first, but he couldn't close.
Yeah, I mean, if he had hit a Force of Will, I think he was good to go.
Oh, I think he was. I would almost say he was just guaranteed a win.
Yeah,
because he'd be able to. Because Kyle didn't have the Force of Will.
Right.
He would have been able to force the Show and Tell instead of just daze it.
In general, I would think that whoever just gets Griselbrand first would win.
Yeah, I think that was more of an anomaly than not. But like these other creatures are nothing to nothing to ignore. Like Kyle just putting in an Emrakul will just kill Zinni immediately.
Yeah. Almost
every time, especially because of the reanimates and the Thoughtseizes.
So Tony looking at a hand with only one land, but the rest of it looks great. I think it's a keep.
His Ponder, Brainstorm, and Reanimate Force of Will?
Yep, and Thoughtseize. And
that sounds great to me.
That is the hand.
You don't even need a Thoughtseize on one. You could Ponder looking for land, figure it out from there.
Yeah. And
like
Houtman taking a mulligan here.
Yeah, I don't have much incentive to Thoughtseize on one here.
No.
I guess okay, it's not the worst, though.
No, I think I would Ponder on one.
Just try and find, like, setting up your future turns, make sure you find your second and third land.
Right.
Probably just your second land is the most important one.
Indeed.
Kyle going to look at his 6-card hand here. Looks like it had no lands, and he's quickly going to send that one back. Go to 5. As soon as my opponent hits 5, I start thinking about the Thoughtseize. But I think that's, like, probably the wrong way to consider this.
That's like, yeah, that's not what I would...
Maybe that's just backwards thinking.
I guess you could Thoughtseize because you think, there's a good chance they keep a one-lander with a cantrip.
Yeah, and just, like, snipe their Ponder. But, like, is that even better than taking their action spell? I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Probably not. Ooh, another no-lander. I think this isn't a ship. I think 4 is more likely to win than this. It has a Brainstorm, but no land... I think 2 through the breaches. Yeah, it goes to 4.
I think, yeah, that is a notable point there, Bappins. I think the Thoughtseize. It's most important not to play the Thoughtseize because it's very possible he finds a fatty, and he'll want to Thoughtseize himself.
Sure.
It happens plenty of times.
Yeah. And currently does not have another way of getting a creature in the graveyard.
Yeah. I think pondering on 1 is the safest play. The safest and most likely to be correct.
Yeah.
All right, let's see Kyle's 4 cards.
Land.
I think he had no lands in that
I
one, too.
did not see a land.
I would keep any 4 cards.
Bottoms.
If you deal me 4 random cards, I will keep it.
Yep.
I don't care.
I'm not going to go to 3.
I think I've only mulliganed to 4, maybe. I mulliganed to 4 last week.
Did you lose?
Barely.
Oof.
We both mulled to 4. All right, we see Thoughtseize here. He is going to lead with it. We see Spell Pierce, Ponder, Sneak Attack, and Force of Will. I mean, he's got a Force. This is not a bad hand. I like taking the Ponder, though. It is not currently... It's not currently castable, but it is the best card in Kyle's hand.
Sure.
Especially if he draws land. If he drew the wrong land... Then he draws a second Force of Will.
That's not the wrong land. City of Traders would be the wrong land.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Then he sees Swamp, Careful Study. And a third card I did not notice.
Yeah, Ponder would have been good there.
Exhume is his last card. This seems like a shuffle to me.
Yeah, he needs...
Fatty.
Fatty, right? Looks like he's keeping, though.
I have not once predicted this correctly.
Nope.
Oh, he has second Thoughtseize. Jeez. He takes Sneak Attack. It's just you can keep the Force.
Yeah. Thinks he can beat 1 counter.
I keep lowering Kyle's life like he's the one who took 2 from Thoughtseize, but it's just not that good.
Thoughtseize would be a lot better. We're going to see Careful Study from Tony.
Oh, Kyle drawing Mountain.
Looks like we are. Tony maybe looking to get lucky here and find a fatty? Nope.
Does not find one. You think he's going to pitch a Force of Will here? I would almost pitch the land.
Yeah, the land doesn't seem hugely relevant. But it does allow him to brainstorm immediately.
Oh, I think brainstorming immediately is pretty aggressive.
Yeah. What is up, Cubs fan 134?
How's it going? Ooh, Kyle draw a red card? That is a great draw.
Whew.
Wow.
Tony probably not too happy about how things have just turned.
Wow.
He might have to force, but then he gets forced back, and then they're top decking, but Houtman has a cage.
Tony being extremely punished for not taking one of these 2 blue cards.
Yeah.
Going for the Sneak Attack was pretty curious. And he's just going to force. Kyle immediately forces back.
Oh, yeah. Call.
I love the call on Kyle's part. And now, Zay's in a world of pain. You're entering a world of pain.
Tony now has 2 useless reanimation spells. Houtman has no hand, but it doesn't matter. The game has restarted, but Houtman has a cage.
Now Zinni needs to find both a fatty and an Echoing Truth.
Yep.
This Ponder sees none of these, so I think it's just a shuffle immediately.
Yeah.
Although Zinni is really thinking about it. I really don't think this is keepable. None of these cards do anything. This Careful Study just dumps the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard.
Yeah, I mean, and that doesn't seem good. Like, the Careful Study has value at other points in the game because it's one of your only so many ways to actually get cards into your graveyard.
I don't think that's enough.
And he keeps, and he casts it, and he's probably gonna put these 2 cards right into the graveyard.
He's gonna put it. I think he's gonna keep the. Oh yeah, it doesn't. Yep, he did that. See, that just doesn't make sense to me.
No, not a ton of sense to me either. And Houtman finds the blue source.
And there's a Needle.
Ooh, Needle for Sneak Attack, I presume.
Oh yeah. I'm not even gonna go out there and ask. We know it. We know it's naming Sneak Attack.
Yeah.
Reanimator does play Show and Tell.
We saw Tony board him out.
Yes, he has 1 in his main deck, I believe. He drew Entomb.
Okay.
Which
so
is
now he needs Echoing Truth.
Yep. There's preordained from Kyle. Now it's just all about who draws more cantrips. Here's an Entomb in response. I have to imagine this is just gonna go get
Griselbrand.
Blazing Archon is an option, but I think Griselbrand's just the best.
Yeah. And now it's kind of a numbers game. Tony knows how many answers he has to this cage, but we don't.
I think 1.
Okay.
I think it's one. I think it is one Echoing Truth.
Great.
Kyle Preordain sees the top two, immediately shifts into the bottom, and finds another land, and just passes the turn. Kyle just has a bunch of mana. Nothing else. Then he draws, finds a Reanimate,
Perfect.
and has to pass it back. Kyle finds another cantrip, though. Ponder's a huge one.
And he has a fetch to go with it.
Sneak attack, which...
Sneak attack's useless, and
Two
looks like
lands.
Two lands. Presumably as a shuffle, unless I don't think Houtman has the
Wipe away?
wipe away in his hand. Maybe he does.
He needs wipe away and fatty.
Yeah. So he keeps.
Well, I mean, the fact that he can just shuffle away those other two cards is pretty relevant here.
Yeah, and I guess he could just put the show or the sneak attack into play, leave it there for later whenever he does find his wipe away.
Mm-hmm.
And Houtman taking 2 life here to cast sneak attack.
Which, again, we assume is Pithing Needled. I can go check. Do you want me to go check?
No, I can check.
All right. Zinni just drawing Griselbrand and then passing. Kyle drawing a card and passing. Pass back. We're just waiting to see if one of these players can draw an answer. Zinni draws. Finds a Tightspout Tyrant. Passes the turn back. There's a Scalding Tarn and a pass. Lotus Petal. Pass. This is just the weirdest Drago game I've seen in a while. Kyle draws a Brainstorm. 3 more looks. Finds Spell Pierce, Sneak Attack, and I think a Griselbrand.
No surprise.
Alright, great.
Pithing Needle is on sneak attack.
Zinni draws, finds a land, and just passes back. We're in Hardcast Force mode for both players. Zinni only has 2 Force of Wills left in his deck. Kyle has 3.
Emperor, thank you for the fill trolls.
Aha! It's Thursday night, Wednesdays. Thank you very much. Kyle draws for his turn, finds a Misty Rainforest, and passes back. Zinni draws. Another Reanimate. Let's make it 3 of a kind. I think that's every Reanimate in his deck, actually.
Yeah, it's great.
Does Kyle find another cantrip? Man, Kyle's found way more cantrips than Zinni.
That is very favorable.
He also has way more cantrips.
Yeah, he has maybe 11. He has Preordain on top of Ponder.
I don't know if he has
Brainstorm.
Probe. He has access to 16.
Yeah.
Omniscience played the full 16, but that deck was...
We also played Dig Through Time.
Yeah. This is a good Magic card.
Yeah.
I don't miss it at all.
No.
He does have Brainstorm and a fetch land, so we have something going here. So he just plays a land and passes back. Both just waiting to draw an answer to the opponent's artifacts here. He also has Preordain. This is... Do we Brainstorm now? He knows the next card, and he knows it's not great. So he's going to Brainstorm.
Has a shuffle effect.
I think this is safe. And he could also just Preordain right after. Finds Force of Will. That's a good hit. Fetches. Kyle does have the advantage here, given that his bounce spell is going to be has split second. Puts him firmly in the lead as far as ability to kill as soon as something is done.
Indeed.
And there's a Preordain. Another cantrip.
So many cantrips.
Through the Breach. That is a hit.
Certainly seems like it. Tony only has... I mean, we know he only has 1 counterspell.
Kyle has a counterspell, has a Force of Will of his own, though.
Now he's going into the tank.
Do I do this now? Do I do this later?
Do I do... Yeah, like next turn. Do I take
Well,
4?
he can end step it.
He could.
He could just do it on Tony's end step. There's a Lotus Petal. Storm is like 8.
Yeah, he's taking 4. So this is through the Breach mana.
Here's Through the Breach. I wonder if do you think Tony just hard casts this, or
I think you hard cast Force.
Plays right into Spell Pierce is the downside. And I think that's what he's playing around here.
All right.
Let's see if Kyle forces back. He does.
Seems like a worthy use.
Let's see what creature is coming into play. Is it Griselbrand or is it Emrakul? It's Emrakul. Oh no!
This is lethal. Tony's only at 13.
Tone checking his life.
That cage. Kyle Hauptman on a mole to 4.
Woo, baby. Wow.
Grafdigger's Cage.
That Grafdigger's Cage was insane. The Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
Not taking a blue card. Wow. That was pretty insane. Well, what a crazy match.
Oh, yeah.
Mold of 4? Doesn't mean anything.
Mold of 4, and it didn't even look difficult.
I gotta say, pretty crazy right there for Kyle, taking that one down.
Hauptman is a master with this deck.
Yep. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Also drew that cage.
Yeah. That
The cage was just an insane draw. It was the best possible draw.
It worked out.
All right. That's it for this match. I'm going to see if we have anyone still playing and try and get them out there.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, you can look at Greg.
You can look at me. Phonics, yeah, I agree. Tony did draw below average in that game. But I think Tony, it seemed like maybe was less familiar with the matchup than Hauptman was, which is totally understandable because Tony has only switched to this deck in the past month or two, and Hauptman's been playing Sneak and Show for a long time. Cubs fan, yeah, Phil and I both went to Houston. We scrubbed out. Then we both went to Detroit. We scrubbed out. Then Phil went to DC where he scrubbed out. I stayed home and I won the Card Market PPTQ. So it took a little while, but I finally had another good result. But yeah, Houston was fun. It's a cool city, and we got to stay with one of my good friends, but we did not do well in that tournament. Yeah, there is no comp. I agree. Yeah, there was a familiarity gap, and also Hauptman definitely. I mean, drawing the cage was just insane. Tunneling Cat, yeah. Living End seemed to be a good choice for that weekend. If you look at the results from the GP in Australia, I think Living End did quite well there. So TX Rager says, took Sneak Attack with Thoughtseize, one resolved anyways, didn't matter because of Needle, should have taken the blue card. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that early on in the game there, Tony should have just taken the Force of Will to make sure nothing, he always was going to have the last say about any one spell. And Kyle being so down on cards, it's possible, that early in the game, you don't really care about stopping Sneak Attack. There is no comp. Yeah, let's look at some spoilers. So my early front runner for favorite spoiler personally is Olivia. And I will pull that up right now. Let me just resize this window really quick. No. I'm so bad at this. I usually use a Mac, so this is hard. No. Technology's hard. Just let me resize this window and... Nope, doesn't want to let me. Okay, there it goes. Alright. Olivia mobilized for war is... Yeah, sorry, I'm a Mac snob. That's what we have at work. I apologize. So Olivia mobilized for war. 3/3 flyer for 3. Decent body up front. Is legendary and a vampire, which is important to note. And it says, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard a card. If you do, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. It gains haste until end of turn and becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. Yeah, so I think this card synergizes extremely well and obviously with a lot of the other cards that have been spoiled so far in the set. We've seen, obviously, a bunch of pretty aggressively costed vampires, mostly at 2 and 3 mana. There's Incorrigible Use, which is sort of the new arrogant worm, and it is also a vampire. And that card has madness. And if you, for example, with Olivia in play a 1-drop vampire the turn after, you could activate trigger Olivia's ability and discard Incorrigible Youths and cast it for its madness cost. So you would also get that creature on the same turn. So that's pretty great. Also, Olivia combos with the new Jackal Pup vampire, which gives all of your vampires madness. So you can kind of just go off with Olivia, dumping your hand into play of a whole bunch of very powerful vampires. Sir Cucumber is a big fan of Relentless Dead, as am I. There's another interesting zombie spoiled earlier today that gets bigger for other zombies in your graveyard and also generates 2/2 zombie tokens whenever you play a zombie spell. The issue I've seen with zombies so far is they haven't spoiled that many of them, so it seems hard to come up with a full zombie-based deck. It seems like there need to be at least, maybe like a 1-drop and another 2-drop before you really start talking about making a zombie-centric deck. But we'll see. Yeah, let's pull up that new zombie. Where are you at? So this got spoiled earlier today. Unfortunately, this spoiler is in German, so I'll just show the text of the card. So this is what it looks like. Diregraph Colossus is the name that they're showing. And this is the effect. 2/2 for 3, so not great stats there. But it says that Diregraph Colossus enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter for each zombie card in your graveyard. So potentially rewarding you for like self-milling. And if you have a lot of zombies in your deck, maybe this can be like a 5/5 for 3 or something in the mid-game. Diregraph Colossus also says whenever you cast a zombie spell, put a 2/2 zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped. That seems very powerful and just can get out of hand very quickly. Also seems to go very well with Relentless Dead because the ability on Relentless Dead allows you to return it to your hand, allowing you to recast the Relentless Dead, triggering your Diregraph Colossus.
I'm so worried about you.
Why is that?
Because you're going to end up playing an underpowered tribal deck at the Pro Tour, and it's going to be despite me telling you not to do it.
There's a good chance I just wind up playing Collected Company in Avacyn.
That seems confusing.
It's like playing Wingweight Rock in your Bant Company deck.
Bad. Is that what you're saying?
Avacyn's better than...
Wingmate Rock?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Wingmate Rock is not a good card. But...
No, that's a good card.
I don't know. The cards I am thus far... nothing has proven... no card has seemed more powerful than Avacyn in, any metric. Archangel Avacyn is just a really, really powerful card.
If anything is fighting for...
Most powerful card?
Yeah.
You think it's this one?
I think it's pretty powerful.
It is. Arlen Cord looks nice. This is a good card.
Yeah.
I mean, just being able to it passes the main tests. Does the Planeswalker protect itself?
Mm-hmm. Can it remove things?
Well, no, just protect itself.
Okay. So what else?
That's test one. And does it continue providing value as the game goes along?
Sure.
Is it ever is it good when you're ahead? Is it good when you're behind?
Yeah.
And the answer is so it compares so much favorably to Gideon, in the sense that it comes down and immediately makes it 2/2.
Mm-hmm.
And it compares favorably it's not quite the same clock as Gideon. Every 4-drop just has to be compared to that. I just want to point that out. Gideon is clearly one of the most powerful cards in the format.
Yeah. The bolt on the backside of Arlen is insane.
I think it's fine.
I think very powerful.
Maybe. We don't know. I don't know how big creatures are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But
it does seem like they're smaller than last standard.
I mean, there's no Siege Rhino. That's a nice thing. But
no Anaphens.
But there is Kalidas.
There is.
Um,
but Kalidas might not be as nearly as relevant.
I would be shocked.
I mean, I think Kalidas will still be great or played.
I think Kalidas is just such a high power level and takes over games in such a unique way. Honestly, pretty similar to Gideon, but it takes more work.
Yeah, a little more going on around it.
I'm just saying you need to play removal spells
Yeah.
But it is much worse against Reflector Mage, and Reflector Mage is another pillar of the format.
Yeah, presumably. We have to see what mana there is.
I think the most damning thing I saw about sort of the way Reflector Mage is in this format is that someone asked on Twitter, do I have to ask myself every time I see a creature, does this pass the Reflector Mage test? And Ari responded by saying, it's less of a test, more of showing up and throwing your paper in the air and lighting your test on fire. Because there's no test. You can't win. You just don't beat that card.
You can just not play creatures, but that's not really the standard that we've been given lately.
In like the last 8 years or whatever.
Lately.
I don't know. It's Sphinx Revelation kind of broke that mold a little bit, and they do not. I don't think they liked how that was.
No.
I did personally,
Yeah.
but I have a problem. I mean, all the other decks played lots of creatures, but I think Arlen Court is extremely powerful. I think she works best in obviously the more aggressive you are, the better. Like being able to play her and immediately the fact that the haste I think will end up being more relevant than it appears.
Yeah.
But she works best with things that flood the board and Hordeling Outburst rotated, which is a big deal.
It did.
Secure the Waste is still legal.
And so is Nissa.
Yes. Nissa, the fact that this curves very well with Nissa is a big deal.
It could be like a Gruul tokens deck.
Yeah, Dragon Fodder still legal?
Tarkus command still legal.
Yeah. But I mean that's a big deal.
Yeah.
A Tarkus command like Dragon Fodder into Nissa into Arlencord into just make a 2/2, flip. You could either bolt something or you can pump your guys and
You also play Reckless Bushwhacker if you want another Anthem effect.
Yeah, I think Reckless Bushwhacker is a pretty underpowered. Is not a very powerful card though.
Sure.
I
guess this is also your Anthem if you want it to be.
Yeah. Here's the werewolf side. For those wondering.
Also, badass art.
Yeah, the art's really nice on this card.
Yeah. It feels like this is the Planeswalker they by far put the most effort into designing.
Yeah. I mean, compared to the other ones, which were just clones of Ob Nixilis.
Yeah.
I do think Sorin is a powerful card for what it's worth. I think Sorin is good, but it's in a rough spot on the curve that we've talked about.
6 is a lot of mana.
Do you know what else costs 6? One of the best cards in the format. Chandra Flamecaller.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, they don't really compare in a similar fashion because they're not going to be in the same deck.
It doesn't seem like it.
But Chandra is just, so ridiculous.
It's very good.
Chandra catches you up immediately every time she hits the table.
Yeah. It's good against kind of everything. The making 2/3 ones I've found even super relevant.
Yeah, you just die.
Yeah.
You just cast Chandra and you win. Your opponent just is dead all of a sudden. It's really an impressive card.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it could fit in this Gruul tokens list we put together, but it's interesting. If you don't play tokens,
maybe you sideboard it. I don't know.
Or you just don't play the token makers and you just go Nissa into Arlencord into
Chandra.
Anything into Chandra.
You can also play Sylvan Advocate.
Yeah, I think Sylvan Advocate will continue to see a lot of play.
Yeah, that's sort of one of my first thoughts about how you could try to figure out what decks to try first is look at all of the actually good 1 and 2 mana spells and go from there, because it doesn't seem like there are actually that many of them.
No, there really aren't that many good 1 mana spells. There's Sylvan Advocate, there's Jace, but
yeah, there's Sylvan Advocate, Jace, Oath of Nissa,
Hangerback Walker.
Hangerback Walker.
That's a great card.
Yeah,
I think that was just.
We'll see what happens with Reflector Mage.
Yeah.
What else is good? Fiery Temper.
It's not 2 drops. It's a 3-drop and a 1-drop. It's neither. It's perfectly
I'm
not a 2-drop.
talking about 1 and 2 drops.
Oh, okay.
1 and 2 mana plays.
All right, that's half of a 1-drop.
Yeah.
Just the win.
Not just the win. That
Just
is
the
not.
win.
There's not that many good creatures, things to put on the board that cost 1 and 2. At least not yet.
Now that
we've seen some vampires.
There's a new ramp guy, the one that taps for green and black, but that's fine. I don't know. We have a lot more to see. Ailey. Ailey's a good card.
Yeah.
And Alien Hangerback Walker are still legal together.
Ailey plus Avison also.
Yeah.
That like black white. I saw a list posted on I think it was TCG Player. People were speculating about black white mid range.
Maybe. The biggest thing I've yet to see about all these things that you're sacrificing creatures is like, is there a creature you can sacrifice for value?
Mm-hmm.
And I've not seen anything yet. Like anything that resembles Doom Traveler.
I mean, maybe you just put Hangerback Walker in that black white.
That's
deck.
the best one by far.
Yeah.
Any case,
Relentless Dead.
sorry to say, thank you.
Value.
Sorry to say that that last round we just watched is the last round of our tournament tonight. Sorry to disappoint there. Only had 3 rounds, had exactly 8 players. Someone unfortunately did decide to drop. In any case, I wanted to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate it. Please follow the stream if you can. It'll let you know when we're going live. Our schedule, for those wondering, is Wednesday 7:30 Central Modern and Thursday 7:30 Central Legacy.
Indeed. And yeah, we'll be back next week.
Coming to you live.
Stronger than ever.
Yep. MTG Card Market here in Chicago, Illinois. Follow us on Twitter, like the page on Facebook, follow us here on Twitch. Really appreciate everyone tuning in.
We're still looking for the mysterious Eldrazi deck to show up in one of our legacy tournaments.
I would like to see it. I want to see it dominate. It showed up last week, but we didn't get a chance to put it on camera.
Yeah.
A little unfortunate. But yeah. In any case, thanks for tuning in again, and everyone have a great night and have a great weekend.
Bye.